Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts, and be sure to follow me on socials at MLU Pod. You can also support My Little Underground for as little as $1 a month. Link in the description and over at peteraradio.com. Today on the show, we have Miranda Elliot, who performs as Old Man of the Woods. We're going to talk about her latest EP, Dissolve, a limited cassette run that she did for the EP that sold out rather quickly, recording in isolation, unapologetically loving pop stars, and so much more right here on My Little Underground. Even in the woods, it's all good.
It's always much better in the woods, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's always better outdoors.
So true.
Not all the time, but some of the time.
I know. I feel like I've been spending far too much time inside recently for having such an outdoor name. But, it's winter. I can't be out in the woods all the time.
You picked the right time to put out a very nature-esque piece of music there.
Yeah, I mean, I had been finding, it's kind of funny because I feel like when I actually wrote the music was, before the pandemic happened, and sort of pre-needing all of the nature so badly. I wrote it not knowing that my name would be Old Man of the Woods, really any of that. And then sort of later upon reflection, adopted this whole persona, and this music fits so nicely into it. So it's been fun running with it. Yeah. But yeah.
I think Dissolve is it's isolation music. It's meant to be heard inside while you're just not doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's not meant to be cranked up when you're driving down the highway, with a bunch of people. It's not party music. It's not an insult. It's a compliment. It's very different from all the other stuff that I usually listen to, which is a good thing. But you picked the wrong time and the right time to put out this music, because your music is very let's go outside, let's be one with the world, but let's also be away from everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is such a good point. Yeah, I feel like, for a long time, I think that I wanted to make music that was more fun and energetic, and this is what happened. And sometimes when things happen, you're like, all right, I make very internal music, and that's just something that I need to accept about myself. But yeah.
Listen, don't put yourself in a box, though. You know what I mean? Like, because,
No,
Dissolve 2 can be full of club bangers. We don't know. I don't know what you got planned,
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and me both. I've been working a lot, and there's a lot of different directions going on there.
Yeah, bedroom club jams. That's 2021. Let's go.
Seriously. I know one of my friends has actually been making a remix of Dissolve recently, that is so cool. I mean, it's more along those lines of it feels very Berlin club music. And I want him to finish it so badly, but he just keeps going in all these directions, and all of them are awesome. I'm like, can we just make a full EP of your remixes of Dissolve?
Let's go.
But yeah, no, hopefully I would love to go in a more clubby direction. We'll see. I've been kind of experimenting with a lot of different things lately. So
talk to me more about Dissolve. So you recorded this in your bedroom, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So paint me a picture of your setup. What's happening?
Yeah, basically at the beginning of last year, around this time, I sort of decided that after a long time of writing music just for myself, that I wanted to take myself a little bit more seriously, and I got a real mic and a little audio interface, and just made the most basic bedroom studio setup. And yeah, I think that some of Dissolve was probably started on GarageBand, and then I think I downloaded Logic and started experimenting with stuff. But it was really just was such an odd period of time. Like I look back on it very fondly, but it was January and February, like before the world changed. But I had just the worst bout of bronchitis, so I like wasn't really able to do anything. Like I was just super sick for weeks. Um, and I'm not unfamiliar with that state of being. Like I don't know, I have asthma and like was sick a ton as a kid. So I think I'm like kind of used to being holed up and like keeping myself busy and like finding new things to do and sort of like disappearing into a fantasy world almost. So I was almost like just keeping with that, but trying to explore music in a different way than I had before. And this is what came of it, which I'm really pleased that sort of letting myself go and just seeing what happened led to this crazy thing that was really unlike the music that I had been writing before.
All of us were kind of forced into isolation, and you feel, with you kind of you're comfortable with that, so to speak. Do you ever see yourself going back into a traditional studio recording setting, or do you find comfort and solace in the DIY approach?
I find a lot of comfort and solace in the DIY approach. I Yeah, I hadn't really ever considered going into a studio, to be honest. I mean, I think that kind of the way that I was writing music before was pretty scrappy, like I don't know if that's the right word to use, but basically I like started writing songs in college, and it was mostly from a like trying to like process and repackage dark emotions into something that felt more like something that I could, I don't know, live with and hang out with almost. Like I don't know, I guess like I use alchemy a lot as a term for stuff because it does feel like almost you're transforming these things that you think are ugly into things that are beautiful that you can, just kind of have around and feel more comfortable with. Um, so I started doing that, and like I was really just doing it with like a keyboard, or I played uke a lot, which like I have so many songs that I really love, but I wrote them on uke and I like cannot stand the sound of it anymore. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with those. um, so yeah, I don't know. I like didn't really ever have plans of sharing stuff. Like I knew that I wanted to, but I also like didn't know where the line fell between like stuff I was doing for me and stuff that belonged out in the world. So I think that like taking myself a little bit more seriously and like trying to record things better and all of that was kind of my first step into like doing more of this stuff. So like maybe I would go into a studio and do that stuff in the future, but this was like definitely really the only way I think I would have taken that initial like leap into all of this.
You said you're kind of used to being isolated. At any time during the last year or so, do you feel like what some others may claim they feel, this kind of cabin fever? Like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm stuck inside. What do I do?
I mean, it happens. I am human, but um I I think that aside from like the intense anxiety of all of this and like already being pretty germophobic, so I feel like this really like fed into that hard, having like a worldwide pandemic. But aside from like all of that, I think I felt more of an excitement to have so much time on my hands, than like a dauntingness of the amount of time. Like I think that I've wanted to be able to invest more time in um, music and learning how to mix and master and all of that, which just I knew nothing about before this year. And I think that there just seemed to be like endless things to learn. So for me, it was like very exciting, other than, of course, like the world falling apart and that being really sad at an existential level.
that's the only thing. When you just think about the surrounding world, it's, oh my God, what's going to happen to society? Not like what's going to happen to me. Oh, I can't go to my club. I can't go to this cafe. I can't go to this restaurant. That doesn't bother me all that much. But it's just like you said, just what's happening around us is really can be overwhelming at times. And I think it's great that we have these creative outlets to turn to kind of divert some of our aggression towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea what the past year would have looked like if I did not have this creative outlet and like the drive to want to explore it. Um I feel very very lucky to have found something to pour myself into all the time.
Which one of your parents was the landscape painter?
That's my mom. Yeah. So I definitely think that creative spirit has been passed down for sure. Um, it's been really fun actually this year because they live in Richmond, which is where I live too. So we've like spent more time together since I live alone. So they're like really the only people that I see right now. Um, and yeah, it's been really fun because I mean she's working on her paintings and I'm working on this stuff. I also like have a day job and stuff that I'm doing a lot of the time too. But like kind of working on creative stuff in unison that intersects a little bit more is something that we had never gotten to have and talk about like as a mother daughter pair, and it's been cool. Yeah.
You said you live alone and you have a day job too. So do you work from home or do you have to go to a place?
No, I work from home right now, which is awesome. I
Do you
didn't before, but yeah, that's been a change.
Yeah, like same here. Like it's been such a at first kind of strange, but I've become comfortable with this. So, do you ever find yourself, because I do the same thing, like let's say if there's downtime at your job, do you find yourself sort of not distracting yourself, but kind of getting accustomed to doing applying yourself to something else? Like let's say, oh, you were writing a song. Oh, there's downtime at work. I have a lunch break. Let me finish this song. Or for me, there's downtime at work. Let me finish editing this podcast that I'm coming out this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think that's been so much fun this year actually, is that I mean, my job is like busy, but every job has downtime. Like I just feel like there's so many points throughout the day that like you're waiting on an email from someone or something.
Same. Yup.
And those used to be like maddening. I was so bad at like existing during those points at work because I just like wanted to do so many other things and I just had to sit at a desk. Um, and yeah, I love working from home for all of that because you really can like tap into these other things that you have going on. And yeah, it feels more like you get to be your whole self all the time and kind of do all the things
Yes.
that you love.
Absolutely. I feel like the past year, I really got to know myself.
Yeah.
Because there's no other distractions out there. I don't have to commute. I could just get up and turn on my laptop, but then I have all this time to just be with myself and do all the things that I usually love to do, but like do more of it. Like listen to records or talk to artists and just whatever that's me. That's not that didn't usually like consume me before all this happened.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like you get to lean into all the things that you were like, God, I wish I had more time to do that thing. Um, and I feel like also at the same time, there have been some things that I like always said that about that I just have not done this year. Like I have not done yoga. And I was always like, oh, if I had more time, absolutely. And it's like, no, you don't do that. You like just write music and listen to stuff.
Yeah, like I talk to
Yeah.
a lot of creative people and just people in general about what we're expected to do during this time. Like, oh, you're supposed to start a business. You're supposed to write a bunch of songs. You're supposed to. You're supposed to. It's like you're not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to
No.
survive. That's it.
Yeah. So true. I know. I mean, that was like totally a trap, especially in the beginning of all of this, I think, is like when there is all the time that you didn't have before, you're like, why am I not creating masterpieces? And then you're like, right, because like I'm freaking out about the world all the time. And maybe, it's not possible to put my best work forward all the time during this thing. Um, but yeah, no, it's kind of oddly, I think that it's easy to like worry about communities and like people not being around each other and not getting to go to shows and so many things that I like really did used to love doing, but I feel like I don't know, I found like a lot of creative community within this time too, because so many people are going through the same thing and everyone's online and just like wants to talk about stuff and connect over things, and it's really cool.
Yeah. So, before COVID or anything like that, like, tell me about the Richmond creative music scene. Like, where did all the people who like to hear music go?
Yeah. My favorite venue was Strange Matter, which
That's
sadly
a great
closed.
name.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the best. I hope that like someone revitalizes it because it actually closed a little bit before COVID happened. I don't know the exact situation surrounding it, but it was kind of like the bedrock of the indie music scene. Like I just have pictures in that bathroom from like, a decade of my life or something. And I feel like I don't know, it's like I remember seeing like Frankie Cosmos there in college and just freaking out and like Porches, and I don't know, that's just Big Thief. Like I feel like that's where all of the, like slightly maybe bigger indie bands came, but also a lot of local ones. So that was great. Uh yeah, a lot of other little venues too. Like the Camel's Cool. I don't know. Richmond is a small city for sure. But it has a surprising music scene. And I think that has something to do with that there's a big university here, BCU, that has like a really big art school. So a lot of students there and bands, and it's also kind of like a cheap city to live in that's not like that far from other cities on the East Coast. So I think like maybe it's easier to exist as a band here than it would be somewhere else. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I really enjoyed going to shows before this all shut down, but I had also maybe stopped going quite as much right before it since I was like trying to work on my own music more. And yeah, I feel like I was very publicly like a fan in Richmond, but did not play live anywhere. Like I really have been a bedroom musician, like like not out in open mics or anything. So I'm looking forward to when things open back up here because it would be fun to kind of get out there and have my own act since I've know so many other people in the scene here, and it would just be exciting to be able to be like a part of it in a different way.
Tell me about some of these artists from Richmond, not like the super famous bands
Right,
that
right.
tour around.
Yeah. Let's see. Big Baby is like those are a couple of my friends. They're really
Another great
great.
name.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so
Big
many good
Baby.
names here. Yeah, they're great. Young Scum,
Young
Antiphon.
Scum.
I know,
What?
right? Yeah. I'm excited for them to hear this and know that their names are getting a lot of love. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of bands around. I'm not sure what everyone's doing right now. Since, a lot of people are either like kind of on hold. Like a lot of the bands here are more bands that I know rather than like a single, solo artist like I am. Which I
That's
guess
good. You stick out.
yeah, true. But yeah, no, there's a scene around, so it'll be fun to see what it's like coming back to it.
Are Big Baby fans of Lil Baby?
I hope so. All the babies need to stick together,
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Let's have one big collective called Child.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. I need to find other old man bands.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just have like an
Great
elderly
grandpa.
collective. Yeah. Is that I haven't heard them before.
Yeah, they're a Seattle group. Oh man, great stuff.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, I'll
Amazing.
send you some jams after this.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think they're kind of in line. No, well, they don't sound like you at all, but like it's the same mood. They're very not sad, but very in touch with their emotions. How about
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
It's okay to call my music sad. I like also, I know that.
No, it's not. It's not sad. It's not. It's just like you said. You made this stuff in January and February, right? It sounds like that. It's very winter-esque. It's very internal.
Yeah,
That's
that is
it.
true.
You're not whining or anything like that. You're just, it's cloudy. That's it.
Right. That's
Yeah.
true. That's a
Mhm.
good way of describing it.
Yeah. So you did a little cassette run with Totally Real Records. So how'd you get connected with this label? And big shout out to Brian.
Yeah, no, he's great. I got connected with them because I kind of after releasing Dissolve in September, like I did not know anything about promo. I didn't even know anything about mixing before the beginning of the year. Like I was really learning it all as I went. So I released it with like CD Baby and, picked the release date to be like a week or something after I submitted it. And it went out there and I like sent it to all my friends and I was like, cool. And they were all really excited. And then I feel like I was just kind of like, well, what do I do now? Like I guess it's out there, like it's in the world, but no one's gonna hear it that doesn't know me. Which is when I found Submit Hub and all of that world of things. It's like confusing and kind of like just like can really beat you down. But I submitted to a few places and got a lot of no's, but various small flames said yes, like we want to write about it. And John Doyle just wrote like the best review of Dissolve. It is so thoughtful and he just like really gets it in a way that I don't think I realized like people that weren't me, would. So he wrote that and then I think Brian saw that and like found me on Bandcamp and messaged me and we just started talking about music stuff. Um and yeah, eventually, we decided to like start working together. So releasing this cassette, which has been super fun. I like really love doing design work and stuff too. So like designing the insert and the little
Yeah, it looks
stamp to put
great.
on it. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to releasing more stuff with Totally Real. He's been awesome to work with.
And you did a limited run of 20, and it sold out rather quickly, I might add. Do you see yourself doing a lot more physical stuff in the future, like vinyl, maybe?
I would love to do vinyl. Yeah, that would be super cool. We're actually, as far as like cassettes go, I think next week, we're gonna do like a second run of those just because they sold out so quickly. And we had already designed everything, so we were like, all right, let's just make a few more. So we're gonna have some more of those available. And yeah, I think in the future I would really, really love to do vinyl. Like I think that the kind of music that I make like lends itself well to that too. Yeah. And there's just so many pretty vinyls that it would be really fun to design that from like a pure like me just geeking out about the way that things look perspective. So hopefully.
So on the cassette version of Dissolve, you have a little bonus track, Wander. And it's kind of this ambient, experimental field recording of forest sounds and assorted vocalizations. So is this a preview of what we're going to hear from you in the future?
Maybe. I had a lot of fun doing it. I kind of wanted to make this little world that you step into where you're like walking through the forest and you're sort of like hearing these echoes around and they're actually all background vocals from the EP. Like they're all just from different songs on it. So I sort of wanted it to almost feel like when you're trying to remember a dream, but it's like fading away. So like sort of these things that you're like hearing, and then you like eventually get to the stream and like get close to it. Uh, so I don't know. I was just like having fun kind of making a narrative thing that didn't have lyrics because I've never really done that before. Like all of my stuff is pretty wordy. Uh, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will do more stuff like that. But I do definitely like, I think I love like the kind of storytelling and language aspect of lyrics. Like I have so much fun writing them that I don't know. I think I would miss that if I did too much stuff that's more soundscapey. But I want to find a way to work it all together more.
You said you had a review done of Dissolve. So what if somebody else reviews it and they throw in a little criticism? How would you handle that?
Um, I mean, it would be fine. I think that of course I'm kind of sensitive just because I like haven't really put stuff out before. So I'm sure that I would be hurt, but I also like people's, you know, opinions of music are so different. Like I don't like all music that I've ever heard, and I do think it's unfair for me to expect like anyone to like this per se. Like I'm really honestly impressed that so many people have liked it, and like that's awesome. um but yeah, I think that like I don't have a very thick skin when it comes to all that yet, but like rationally I understand. um
Do
yeah,
you read music reviews yourself? Like, do you go on Pitchfork or whatever and just read a review of any album? Or yeah.
I used to more. I haven't so much recently. Like I feel like I used to read Pitchfork more in college and stuff.
So did everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. That's like that's when you read Pitchfork. But yeah, I've been reading more of various Small Flames just ever since they reviewed me because I was so into his writing that I like kind of wanted to see what else they were into, and I've liked a lot of that. Um, but yeah, I think that I could definitely read more music reviews. But it's definitely not like a part of my kind of everyday online existence, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. So you recently shared a piano version of Coast and Bloom. Do, do you have a central instrument that you begin to write songs with?
Um, I think the piano is kind of one of my backbone instruments. I'm releasing a piano version of Made Your Bed next week that I'm really excited about. So that I'll be like streaming and stuff. Uh, yeah, so I think that like when I was younger, like in middle school or something, I played piano for a while, like in, you know, the classical sense. So I have more experience with that, but I also gave up after after a few years because I just got bored of classical music, which I, you know, everyone regrets, I think, giving up instruments when you were young enough that you like could have gotten really good at them. I really just wish someone had been like jazz piano's a thing and you can improvise. And I would have been like, cool, let's keep doing it. But instead I was just like really sick of Mozart. Um, he's great, but you know, I don't know. I wanted to like play pop and stuff. Uh, so yeah, I definitely write a lot on piano. I wrote a lot on uke for a long time just because like I had one in my room in college and it was very accessible. Um, I've started writing more kind of starting with a little bit of a beat and like some synth stuff. Like Dissolve was mostly written. Actually, I guess that's still kind of piano, still keyboard. Yeah, I think that like keyboard and keys are probably my backbone instrument.
Going back to tapes and physical media, what's your thoughts on physical music in a digital age?
Um, Honestly, before I decided to make a tape, I like didn't really fully understand like the love of them. I don't know. I think that like my job is so digital too. Like I'm a web developer and designer and stuff, so like I just live on screens all the time, like probably to an extent that is not incredibly healthy, but I like I don't buy a ton of physical music, but I also think that like something about this year has made me want more of it. Like I think I'm seeing the need for it more now that like I live in a more virtual world overall, that like there's something really calming and like comforting about these tactile things that you can hold on to that are music. So it's growing on me, which I wouldn't have expected like a couple of years ago. Um, and there's just so much like effort that can be put into making it so cute too that I really like. Like I don't think I understood like how much goes into making a physical thing that you don't really see with a digital one. Um, so I think the physical side is growing.
Yeah, this year I've definitely bought a lot more records, and living in New York, I live next to a lot of record stores, so
Oh yeah.
oh boy. Yeah, I just have to be careful because sometimes you can spend too much money in these places. But hey, listen, when you listen to an album on vinyl and it's recorded very well, or tape, CD, there's a certain intimacy to it. There's no distraction. Like you're focused on that particular collection of songs at that time. When you're on Spotify and etc., you get distracted by other things, other songs, or other artists, other things on YouTube, and just there's so much things coming at you. So with a physical medium, it's you're just connected to that, and that's it. I love that.
Yeah. No, I do. I totally agree with that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very special like these days to have time with one thing that's uninterrupted. Um and yeah, Spotify does just create this thing where you're like, well, I need to be finding new music, and it's like, you like this album, just listen to it.
Nothing
But
wrong with discovering new stuff, but right now I just want to listen to this
yeah.
right now. That's it. So tell me about your Embrace the Suck journal and how Steven Tyler of Aerosmith inspired it.
Oh yeah. That's such a yes. I just made that for a friend, I think maybe for their birthday or something. I was trying to do more things with my hands, like kind of going back to the screens thing of that I do all my creative work on screens. Like I just feel like I had some realization at some point where I was like, "Oh my god, can I do anything in real life?" Um and just started making like little collages and stuff, and made that little journal. And my mom had recently, yeah, shared an article about Embrace the Suck, which is just such a like I feel like it's something that everyone needs to hear at some point, which is just that some of your ideas are really going to suck and you should just keep having them. Like you'll get through those. Just like keep saying them. Some of them like will be very, very bad, but you'll never like get rid of them if you don't just get them out. And I think that I've had to like have a lot more grace with myself about that even this year, of just, fully writing a song and being like, that was bad. All right, not going to do anything with that one. Um, but at least it doesn't just stick around like haunting you. um, so yeah.
I love that idea because, yeah, you have to treat creative outlets as a blank canvas. And some things are not going to, because I've been there, I've had a lot of bad ideas. When I did college radio, I had a lot of awful ideas for shows and I had a lot of bad shows, and I just kind of had to let it out before, so you just scratching that itch. You know what I mean? You get that itch off, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then move on. Do something else.
Right,
Hmm.
totally.
Yeah. So, what are you listening to currently, and what have you grown up listening to?
Okay, so currently I have been listening to so much Adrienne Linker. I think that's how you say her name. I feel like I don't say anyone's names out loud, so like once I have to, I'm like,
Yeah.
who are these people?
Yep.
Yeah, that the songs and instrumentals albums are both so good and just so many feelings in there. Honestly, I am like such a such a Taylor Swift stan now. I guess I have been like I really grew up with her. But I went through that phase of like not talking about her or just like being embarrassed that I liked her because everyone just thought that she was, Taylor Swift or whatever. But, folklore, Evermore, I'm into it. So her storytelling is just so great. And I think that actually, like, that has been not at all an inspiration to Dissolve because it came, before those were written. But it's been really cool to watch someone who is very autobiographical in their writing, like lean more into fiction because I like hope to be able to do that someday. Um, so it's nice watching her do that and like knowing that it's possible. uh, and yeah, what else? The Porches album earlier this year was great. Love OK Kaya. Um, yeah, the Japanese House had like a collab with Bon Iver that just like killed me for the whole first half of the year. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of growing up though. I uh I mean this is not original at all. But of course I loved the Beatles. My grandpa was from Liverpool. So
Oh,
he really like I feel like he like held them as a hometown band almost, which is hilarious because they're the Beatles, but like true. I mean, they're all from Liverpool. Uh so he like really, spoon fed that music to me as a kid. And I watched the movies all the time. Probably like I'm sure that my parents like never want to listen to the Beatles again after raising me. But yeah, I actually recently watched Yellow Submarine again though, and it's so good. I don't know if the rest of them hold up, but the animation in that one's great. um, uh, yeah, I loved the Zombies. I feel like I was very into like kind of those harmonizing like boy bands from what like the 60s. That whole vibe. Uh,
Beach Boys.
yep. Yeah,
Okay.
right. Of
Yeah.
course, the quintessential. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like loved harmonies like from being a little kid. And I also feel like my parents like they're pretty I don't know, I guess open-minded is the right word, but they definitely just had a lot of atypical music around too. Like they would play Gregorian chants and stuff like that.
Wow.
I know they're out there. So I feel like I also like I did not really like that as a kid, but I like wonder if it had some effect on um I don't know, the kind of music that I like appreciate now maybe. Um yeah.
You gave me some uncool answers. So I mean, no one. I don't think anyone I've interviewed on this show has said, "Yeah, Taylor Swift, that's my jam." I don't think anyone has done
Good.
that.
I'm glad to be the first. I feel like this is the year of people being like, "Okay, fine, I like her," So
Oh yeah,
I'm just let me join in with the chorus. And
yeah.
it's
Pride the
also
show being an obscurist show program. So
you'll just edit that part
yeah,
out.
just take it all out. Yeah, no one's a Taylor Swift fan here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like something about this year, I think that I used to really like be obsessed with being more obscure. And I don't know what's happened. I don't know if I'm like getting older or like just I'm tired or just I like want to talk about things that are pop, but it's fading quickly, Like pop has really grown on me in recent years. So who knows what's happening. But I do love her.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Look, I like when people are unapologetic about what they like. I don't like when people are afraid of saying what they like. I think that sucks. Just tell me what you like. I'm not going to judge you. Maybe some people will, but I won't. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that all of us should be more honest about that stuff.
Yeah.
There's Life is too short to pretend you don't like popular songs.
Yeah,
So
don't pretend. Just let it fly. I don't care. So Miranda, old man of the woods, I appreciate you coming on My Little Underground. So tell everybody where to find your music, how to follow you on the internet, and what have you. This is your time.
Okay, great. Yeah, Old Man of the Woods. You can find me everywhere that streams music. Dissolve is out now, and Major Bed, the piano version, will be out next week. Um, you can find me on Instagram at Old Man of the Woods with little dots in between each of the words. That's the best way of saying that. And on Twitter, which is OMW with underscores. I did not make this easy for myself. Just like insert different kinds of punctuation and you'll find me. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say, but it's been so much fun being on here and yeah, thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, Miranda. Appreciate you.